Welcome back, Truth Seeker. It is Tuesday, August 6th. Or, excuse me, it is Wednesday. It's Wednesday, August 6th, 2025. Today is the 80th anniversary of the bombing of Hiroshima. Overkill after Japan had already surrendered in they were on the verge of surrendering. The official surrender date for Japan is August 15th. 1945, which of course the Jesuit order's birthday, but they had really all but surrendered even prior to the bombs being dropped. They say the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki could have been some of the biggest overkill in the history of war by any nation. And of course, another event that doesn't get often talked about in World War II is the bombing of Dresden by the Royal Air Force and the U.S., where they used napalm for the first time in war. You learned about napalm mostly in Vietnam, but it was actually used at the end of World War II, bombing Dresden, and some estimates saying killing over 100,000 war refugees. Dresden was where people gathered in the war who wanted to avoid the war, and once it was over, the Royal Air Force and the U.S. came through and killed a lot of refugees. Some estimates say it was around 20,000. It's just like when, the last 20-year war was going on, there were estimates all over the place of how many died. Some as low as 100 and some thousand, some in the millions. Again, as they say in war, the first casualty is the truth. You never really get to know what's going on. Funny how that is, especially being from a nation that spends so much time involved with it, spends so much money and resources on it. But yeah, anyhow, let's talk about what's buzzing. Last night, this headline broke. A lot of news sources covering it for the first time today. TV actress, most known for her role in The Walking Dead, dead at 33 from a rare cancer. And if you haven't done so already, I would encourage you to look up this woman, Kelley Mac, and just type in Kelley Mac interviews. She actually just did a whole bunch a little more than a month ago because she had a movie that came out called Universal. And she's vibrant, healthy, talking about her future of her acting career. In several of the interviews, she's in the Grand Tetons at a wedding. Real excited about her new role. She played a character, I believe the name was Riley, a code breaker. But I must have listened to 15 interviews by this woman, a lot of them from just a little more than a month ago. Not once did she bring up that she was fighting cancer. Not a single mention of a cancer battle, any ill health. I mean, she looks like a young, healthy, early 30-something. So we're going to get to this death at 33. Of course, it was a week ago today. We talked to the Occult Rejects, and since they made the thumbnail of their interview with me a big 33, I thought, well, why not talk about 33 and just how human-related it is? But here we are a week later, and this is in the headlines, so we're going to talk about that. I haven't got to season 9 of The Walking Dead yet. Funny enough, I am watching the show. I'm in season 6. There's been a lot. I've been commenting all the funny business and coded. Speaking of Codebreaker, be a Codebreaker and watch The Walking Dead. You'll laugh your ass off. But I did read where she's introduced. In season 6, you do meet the Hilltop community, and I guess she's a member of the Hilltop community in season 9. What character is it in The Walking Dead that brings the main characters to the Hilltop community or Hilltop colony, whatever they refer to it as? It's the character Jesus. Yeah, Jesus. Not pronounced Jesus, Jesus. The same one who most people believe died at 33. So I find that lead-in perfect. And by the way, you know how like in season 5, episode 4, as I told you about The Walking Dead, how they have a painting of Ignatius of Loyola, and they talk about a Jesuit hospital. Of course, Jesuit order equals 54. Their headquarters, again, the Church of the Jesus Building 4. At their pinnacle in the U.S., they had 54 universities. Their first university, Georgetown, was founded by 54-year-old John Carroll. I remember Jesuit order equals 54 the small way. The big way, the Jesuit order is 177. The Walking Dead runs 177 episodes. When they first meet the Jesus character, they ask him to guess how many members are in their community, and he goes, I don't know, 54? It's like, look at this. That's after season 5, episode 4, but again, you guys, like I tell you, the Jesuits, you're on their calendar, you're speaking their language, you're living in, if you're in the U.S., or probably pretty much almost any nation in the world, you're living in their nation, Again, this is who runs the world. People think it's the Illuminati. Well, the Illuminati was founded by a Jesuit in Bavaria, which equals 54 in Gematria. Anyway, we'll get more into her death. On the same day, we're going to show how all of these stories that broke on the 5th of August, old 5/8, how they're just all so obviously connected. Do you remember a famous basketball star who died prematurely, synced up with Mr. 58 himself, Pope Francis, who had the last name Bryant? Do you remember that guy, Kobe Bryant? Well, yesterday in Philadelphia, on the 5th day of August, they solved a 50-year murder of Carl Bryant. And apparently his body was found on the day leaving 201 days left in the year in 72. It looks like a total Kobe tribute, and we're just days from Kobe's birthday anniversary. Okay. We'll again bring up the Epstein thing just in light of how I covered this yesterday, in light of how it fits in with the first two stories we covered. The big story today is 5 military personnel shot by another military member at Fort Stewart in Georgia. About 1,000 times I've educated about how Wednesday and Saturday, the days that have gematria that overlaps with shooting, how they're the days that the vast majority of mass shootings fall on. The last major mass shooting in the news was the one in New York in a big 44 ritual in the 44-story building. But look at how shooting Georgia and Wednesday are 44 and 37. Again, if you're new here, gematria, the Kabbalistic practice of coining numbers into words, is based on the alphabetic order forwards and backwards. It explains why there is an alphabetic order, why it matters that there's a first letter and a last letter. Again, because every letter is a number. An ancient world practice is gematria, which is from Kabbalah. But again, like I learned from the 1926 book, The Secret Teachings of All Ages, the 4 base ciphers are the alphabetic order, the reverse alphabetic order, and both orders with numerology applied. I mean, just look at it. Look at all those 44s up there. And don't forget they installed Hagseth at age 44 to lead the Pentagon. And, of course, he was picked on the Superior General's birthday, who's the leader of the Jesuits. That was back on November 12th. But, yeah, just look at all those words. Gunfire, mass shooter, military, officer, trooper, infantry, shooting, Georgia, Wednesday. They're just all 44, just so happens. You can see there's quite a few 37s up there as well. And the shooter's name has one of the most ridiculous spellings I've ever seen in a mass shooter name. And a lot of times they do have funny names with funny spellings that just don't make any sense. His name's Cornelius, but it's spelled in the corniest of ways. We'll talk more about that. Trump today on the 54th day of his age. Trump, Jesuit educated, says he's ready to meet with Putin and Zelensky again. Again, Zelensky turned 47 5 days after Trump took office, number 47, when, of course, Ukraine equals 47. Seems like it's only a matter of time. But yes, today on the 54th day of Trump's age, we've been showing how from the beginning, all of Russia, Ukraine is one big Jesuit ritual, as plain as day. But of course, you don't see these things if you don't know the Kabbalistic code they work by every single day. If you do know it, it becomes painfully obvious what's going on. On this Wednesday, 4 earthquakes strike the Los Angeles, Long Beach area. We'll talk more about that. And the BET Awards were canceled on 59 date numerology, reminding that Black History Month ends on the 59th day of the year. Motown came out in 59, and that infamous verse in Ephesians 6 verses 5 through 9, slaves, obey your masters. We'll come back to it. Let's start right here again with Kelley Mac. So notice she's from Cincinnati, right? I've been talking about how just Cincinnati's everywhere in the news. The news broke yesterday, the 5th of August, that she'd passed away, supposedly from cancer. And, you know, somebody might say, well, Zach, you might have watched a bunch of interviews, and I just went and watched them too, and you're right, she didn't mention cancer a single time, but that doesn't mean she wasn't fighting it. I just find it funny you'd be doing all these interviews, talking about your future, your career, just seeming as normal as ever, and then meanwhile, you were just days from your death. I don't know, just, it doesn't sit right with me, and, yeah, again, anyway, the form of cancer that she's dead from is a rare form called glioma, which equals 33. So we're told. Glioma. And her maiden name is Kelley Klebanow, and you can see it equals 58. 58. Again, we're about to get to the Carl Bryant solving on the same day. Of course, the star from Philly with the last name Bryant, Kobe Bryant. His name is 58, as well as 41, like he died traveling from Catholic Mass on the 41st day of the Pope's age at age 41. And he played for LA, which is 41, and also 13, like his daughter's age. And again, you put his full name together. Kobe Bean Bryant, 54, like son, dead on a Sunday before Super Bowl 54, the first Joe Montana Bowl, 54. And Los Angeles Lakers is also 58. People forget that Kobe's father was a pro basketball player, Joe Jelly Bean Bryant, but 58 is the 41st composite number. So 58 and 41 are peas in a pond. And again, Kobe Bryant, 58 on the 5th day of the 8th month. In Philadelphia, his hometown, a Bryant murder is solved. Okay, but anyway, 58, again, news by the numbers all day, every day you pay attention. News by the numbers. With regards to Freemasonry, the number that's often associated with Freemasonry is 33 because it's the top degree of the Scottish Rite. And again, there's a lot to 33. Words like masonry, secrecy, and order equal 33, but so do a lot of other words, including Hollywood. This is an actress. She's known for The Walking Dead, which begins in Atlanta on the 33rd parallel. I have not seen the part of the show that she's in. Like I said, I'm watching season 6 right now. But that's where you learn about the Hilltop Colony, which from reading the articles about her death, that's what she was a member of. And I do know that it's Jesus in the show who introduces the Hilltop community. And again, everybody associates Jesus' death with the number 33. Now, she died the first day of Tisha B'Av, the real Black Sabbath, which this year fell on August 2nd. The top 3 things she's known for are The Walking Dead, Chicago Med, Chicago, Illinois 82, like she died on 8/2. And remember, Black Sabbath is 82. It was the real Black Sabbath this year. It's also 28. August 2nd can be written 8/2 or 2/8. And it was the first day of Tisha B'Av, which can also be written 82 or 28. She wasn't Jewish, was she? I'm not sure what her religious orientation was. It says she was not Jewish. Okay. Tisha B'Av is a Jewish day associated with tragedy. Now, you look at the credits for the writers of The Walking Dead, that's another story. But in light of her also being connected to this show 911, we've talked about this a million times. This is my book from 2017, how Tisha B'Av equates to 911. Tisha B'Av's to mainly remember the destruction of the 2 temples, kind of like the 2 towers that came down on 911. And that just stands out to me in a big way. That she dies during Tisha B'Av, and these are the shows she's remembered for. Chicago, Illinois, Chicago Men, 911. And as for The Walking Dead, I'm not sure it exactly has the 82-28 connection. I haven't finished The Walking Dead, but perhaps something will dawn on me about why that might factor in with Tisha B'Av as well. Again, it is a day of tragedy. Essentially, the world's in tragedy in The Walking Dead, obviously. It's a zombie apocalypse. Now, well, maybe that's part of it, because Tisha B'Av's also connected to the prophecy of the coming 3rd temple, which Christians see that moment as when, it's revelation and the skies will rain fire and the majority of the world's population will be wiped out. The chosen ones, the believers, will be saved. But yeah, the point is, clear correlation with 2 of the shows she's remembered for. And then just the 33 part, again, factors in with Jesus, who brings in the Hilltop community. But yeah, I'd encourage everybody to just go listen to this woman's interviews from the very recent. I mean, not a mention of fighting any kind of health battle. She was talking about just how much she loves her acting career, the future of her acting career, how much she likes her current role, which she really identifies with as a code breaker. She talks about code breaking, and I was like, interesting. But yeah, the other point to make is, being from Cincinnati, remember who else died over Tisha B'Av weekend, which fell on August 2nd and August 3rd? Lonnie Anderson died at 79 on 8/3. And again, murder, 79 and 83. And been talking about how that same weekend you had she died on J.D. Vance's birthday, by the way, who for his 41st birthday spoke out how big of a Cincinnati Bengals fan he is. But yeah, another TV actress from WKRP in Cincinnati died that weekend. So doesn't that seem a little bit curious? 2 celebrity deaths, 2 acting deaths. Maybe Kelley Mac doesn't officially count as a celebrity, but at the same time, you know, she's on the world stage. She's part of the entertainment business, not the biggest name. But these 2 actresses with Cincinnati connections, while the Cincinnati brawl is in full focus, they're just dead. Yeah, I linked this interview here. This is a recent one, but seriously, I must have watched 15 of her interviews. Half of them are from about a month and a half ago because of her recent film. I didn't hear a single mention of any health problems. Not one. Not one. So, her latest film just came out 42 days before her death. It's a whole nother topic, but yeah, R.I.P. to her. And again, here's the Carl Bryant story. By the way, in the Kelley Mac story, all the articles say the same thing, that her family gathered her around her and she died peacefully with her family surrounding her. It's always the same cut and paste statement. You know? It didn't say like her family is shocked. She was just seeming so healthy, so excited about her new movie, doing interviews all over the place, talking about her future acting career. She wasn't talking like she's about to go. Didn't seem like in her mind there was any chance she was going to go just a few weeks later. It really is annoying living in a world where people think they live in this great country that has all these rights and liberties and a First Amendment where the media is protected so they can do real investigative journalism and get people the best information, but it's like the same cut and paste bullshit every time with no investigative journalism, just cover up after cover up, lie after lie. Anyway, this story goes, a body found in a Washington, D.C. suburb more than 50 years ago has been identified as Carl Bryant, a four-year-old boy. Remember Kobe was in his 4th year of life when the 76ers won the championship. And, oh my God, why can I not think of Moses Malone, the first player taken out of high school, who was drafted by Utah, like Kobe finished his career against Utah. That's when Moses Malone said, fo. And then Moses Malone and Daryl Dawkins both died by the numbers right before Kobe's last season. And again, in Exodus 4, you got Moses with the staff and the snake and Kobe, the black mom. If you've missed all my work on Kobe's death and Moses Malone's death and how it's all connected, you got to go back and check that out. They were both Nike athletes. Remember when Kobe retired that year, Nike put out the Kobe AD shoe like after death, and then right before his death, the Lakers signed AD. It's all biblical jokes. But yeah, here, a 4-year-old boy from Philadelphia. 4 is associated with death, but it also reminds of Kobe being in his 4th year of life, again when Moses Malone said, fo. Police said this week. Fairfax County, Virginia, police said advanced DNA testing and genome sequencing led to a positive identification on the body of a juvenile homicide victim found in 72 in a creek in Lorton, an area south of the capital just off I-95. The boy was found June 13th, 72 in Massey Creek. Now, look, the day leaving 201 days left in the year, the Jesuit Order 201 dropped the Jesuit Order 72. And what were the Jesuits credited for? Was it to counter the 95 Theses, and were they recognized by the Roman Catholic Church on the day leaving 95 days left in the year? How often do we see these same numbers grouped together over and over and over? Here they are again. I didn't even run the other numbers. Lorton and Massey Creek. Let's just take a peek real quick. Lorton has 68 like basketball in 94, which is how long a basketball court is. And remember, Catholicism is also 68, just like mathematics is, just like basketball. Like there's now 68 teams in the March Madness tournament. And Roman Catholic Church is 94. Again, Kobe was Catholic. So the main thing there is the 94 and 68. They're both numbers that are used in basketball when this looks like it's a tribute to Kobe. And Massey Creek. Massey Creek. That one, I mean, there's things I could point out. I mean, Massey Creek is 65 like Philadelphia, but there's some other things that could be pointed out, but yeah, I think we hit the main factors here. Efforts to create a computer-generated sketch of how the boy looked and match strands of his hair to DNA existing in a national database were also not successful. But yeah, again, what a joke. This came out yesterday, the 5th day of August, when Kobe Bryant's 58. And by the way, we'd write it 8-5 in the U.S. Basketball's 85 as well. Or 5/8 like Kobe Bryant. And just the fact that the name is Carl, 4 letters like Kobe, and C and K are very similar letters. That's one of the things I first started to think about when I learned Gematria. And I think I used to wonder this too when I was a kid, but I really started thinking about it when I learned Gematria. I said, yeah, why do we have so many letters that can make the same sound as another letter? Why do we have like a phone? Why is our language so complicated? Why is it P-H-O? Why is it if you put a P-H, it can make the F sound like F? Well, what is the point of all this? It doesn't make any sense when you really think about it, other than language is used as a class system thing. People who don't have education wouldn't know how to spell these words. They'd make these kind of mistakes. It would show they were of lower education. Or also, if the whole system was created to encode messages and numbers of Kabbalistic significance. Again, a lot of things like this in the English language that just are completely unnecessary. Why do you need multiple letters that make the same sound? Why, if you put these letters together, then it makes the same sound as that letter? This stuff, there's no point in it existing outside of what we expose every day. And that's why learning this, it really does start to make more sense of the world. And it's too bad more people don't want to make more sense of the world. And again, just following off the pattern of how on the 5th day of August, it was all 58. Again, I've been talking about Epstein in 58 for almost a decade now since he died. We're over halfway to the decade mark, but I guess we're coming up on the 6th anniversary, but it is closer to a decade than not. Anyway, the point is, when he died, it was 58 days after Trump's birthday. Now we get the edit in the video at 11:58:58, as they told us in the news. Now on the 58 date numerology on the day that can be, and that's the thing too about yesterday. It wasn't just 5/8, it was a date with 58 date numerology. But on this date, you got GOP-led House committee subpoenas DOJ for Epstein files, which equal 58. Again, when he died 58 days after Trump's birthday, that's back when Trump had won the 58th election, and he'd announced from the 58-story Trump Tower, and again, Freemasonry's 58, and the first degree is the Honored Apprentice, and secret societies. This information kept secret about Epstein, but just now when Trump's back in office, all of a sudden now they can release the information, but they're choosing not to. Again, the whole thing's just set up ritual. And Freemasonry is big on rituals. That's rites in Freemasonry, not spelled like R-I-G-H-T, but R-I-T-E, the type of rite that has to do with ritual. You perform the ritual, you earn the right. Yeah, but, ugh. And then again, just today, I mean, I've taught this lesson 1,000 times. Wednesday and Saturday have the gematria that corresponds with shooting. We've seen this before in Georgia. Last year, right as the school year kicked off, it was a shooting in Georgia on September 4th, a date that can be written 4-9, like gun control's 49. And remember, the town the shooting was in equaled 49. The police officer in charge, his name was 49. That began a series of shootings encoding 49 in over the course of the next couple months, and they were all connected to the Georgia football team. And then remember what happened at the Georgia game versus Notre Dame in New Orleans on New Year's Day. They had to postpone the game because of the shooting in the matchup that was the 44th anniversary of it's the Sugar Bowl in New Orleans, right? Isn't that what it is? We used that information preseason because we thought that the Sugar Bowl could be a rematch of the same two teams 44 years later. Yeah, it was the Sugar Bowl had the mass shooting. Well, it was a car driving into a crowd and a shooting. But that was the 44th anniversary of the Sugar Bowl. The same two teams, Georgia and Notre Dame. Again, Rig Sports, Rig News, all put together. Remember one of the shootings last year was a black and white photo of a guy named Couch off the interstate in Kentucky. And then when Georgia played Kentucky, Kentucky retired Tim Couch's jersey right after the shooting. Do you guys remember this? It's just like, look at that. I mean, first of all, how are they getting away with putting out an image of a black and white photo of the suspect? What are we? We're on like iPhone 2000. They've all been in HD since the thing came out. Oh, yeah, the shooter's name is Couch in Kentucky right before Kentucky's going to retire Tim Couch's jersey. And here's his photo again. It's black and white. You guys, it's annoying as hell that I have to continue to explain myself and teach the same lessons 10 times a week because this shit really is this redundant. And what's even more annoying is the morons who come across like, huh, have you ever heard of schizophrenia? Like, have you ever heard of programmed? Because I've been hearing that ever since 9/11 happened. By the way, 9th Ave, the other name for Tisha B'Av's 44. 9/11 happened 44 days after the official date of Tisha B'Av. Big military operation that got us 20 more years of military operation, all based on government lies. But yeah, again, you question the mainstream, the typical lemming retards, they all go to the same insults. Schizophrenia. Tinfoil hat. It's like, does any of this make any sense? How about address what I'm showing here? How about you come out, give me a list of 10 related, just bark out 10 words, bark out 10 straight words, and this wouldn't even be the same even if you did pull it off. Let's just go through names. Allison. I'll just go through girls' names. What's a B girl name? Bridget. Oh, close to 44. We're close. C, Candace. D, shout out to Daria, one of the top decoders. Here, let's even do another D. Oh, doesn't have it either. No 44s. Deborah, let's go to E. How about Erica? F, Francine. G. I'm not gonna write out Georgia. What's a Gabby? I know some Gabbies. Gabby. G. It would have been unfair to do Georgia. Gabby. G-H. Harrietta. I. Iris. I used to know an Iris. She made me want to be Hispanic. I actually used to tell her I was Hispanic in 3rd grade because I had a crush on her. I'm like, yeah, I'm Hispanic too. Iris. Let me think. I-J. Jennifer. K, Karen. L, Louise. Well, obviously we've done 12 names here. M, Mary. Did we hit a 44 here? Man, you mean to tell me I typed out all those things? I went past 10 and I didn't get a single 44? But these morons want to come through here and be like, huh, ever heard of coincidence? Like, man, how dumb are these people? How dumb are these people? As they pick the latest Secretary of Defense in another 44 ritual. This time they just picked a 44-year-old, Hegseth, and literally did it on the Superior General's birthday by another Jesuit-educated guy who's the 44th guy to be president, Trump, and some morons that come through, oh, 44th guy, he was number 45 and 47. Yeah, and the 44th person to be president, moron. Grover Cleveland had a split term and messed up the count, but anyway, yeah, it's just... And by the way, today's date numerology breaks down to 5. That also happens all the time. Just the date numerology, if you pay attention, it'll be the story. 5 shot on a 5 date numerology. Another Wednesday shooting in Georgia. Now, here's the other thing that jumped out at me. Who Fort Stewart is named after? Named after this guy named Daniel Stewart. You see how he died on May 27th? Compare May 27th and August 6th. These dates are what you would call reflections of each other. May 27th is the 147th day of the year. Remember words like Freemason and conspiracy equal 147. Police and Jewish gematria is 147. It's the day leaving 218 days left in the year. Death equals 218. What is August 6th? Oh, it's the 218th day of the year, leaving 147 days remaining. Greater research would make one wonder if Daniel Stewart, might have been a Freemason. It's highly likely. Most people in high places at that point in history were Masons, especially if their names are remembered in the history books. And look, he died at 67, like another prominent Freemason, George Washington. But that's just another thing right there. What are the odds that this would happen at a base named after him on the date that is the reflection of his death anniversary? What are the odds of that? And then I know how the morons think. The morons who see, isn't that what's annoying about humanity? You already know how like your moron friend would react, or your family member would be like, "Oh, well, why do you compare it to his birthday then?" Like, okay, I could, but again, his death date's also prominent in the point stance. This is annoying. It's so annoying in arguing with the lemmings, who are always the way they respond and think is always looking for a way out, or like, see, didn't I make a good point? No, you didn't make a good point, moron. Odds that his death anniversary is the reflection date of this day of potential. Well, somebody did die because the shooter's dead, and it remains to be seen. Well, actually, I did see the most recent. If you guys watched the initial reporting that CNN did this morning when they broke, they said people were killed. So it went from people were killed to people were injured, and now they're saying they're all in stable condition. So if you actually watch the mainstream media all morning, it did go from a deadly shooting to, oh, never mind, nobody died. And by the way, do you remember how just a few years ago they used to tell the joke that, like, why are all the mass shooters white? Sometimes they were Asian, but very rarely were they ever black. Notice quite a few of the mass shootings now are black shooters, including today's. And what do you think? What do you think's up with that? Do you think it could be another thing that I've talked about 1,000 times? Again, I have a book out there that's nearly 1,000 pages long that has a chapter on mass shootings and again, it's all about the number 44 for the most part, and identify these patterns of Wednesday shootings and 44 over and over. But in that same book, there's the chapter about racism by the numbers, and blues, Rasta, Negro, slave, all 59. That's today's full date numerology path, 59. 8 plus 6 plus 20 plus 25 is 59. So on a 59 date, we get a black shooter. Something tells me it has to do with the baseball game, too, because Atlanta, Georgia's 59. And we're doing great in that series. The Brewers came in on 44 losses. I mean, there's a decade of video of me talking about when Georgia and Wisconsin play, how it's always about 44, not to mention Hank Aaron played for the Milwaukee Braves before they moved to Wisconsin. But notice Wisconsin team, Brewers came in on 44 losses, and they stayed on 44 through the first two games. We'll see if they can do it on the third game. That's a big if, but so far we're 2-0 in that series, and I'm not saying they're going to stay on it today. Again, if you want sports information, join Patreon. It's what we do every morning. Every morning, 7 days a week. I don't take any days off. Not for holidays, not for birthdays, not for nothing. But anyway, yeah, you learn these numbers. You'll see rig sports, rig news, same rituals over and over again. The feds were on the scene. What do you know? They talked about recent mass shootings at military bases. In my 2017 book, there's a big section on the Fort Hood shooting. They killed 13. Good story for the children pledging to the 13 stripes for 13 years of slave school. And the killer was 34 years old, like murder's 34. There's a lot more to it. Fort Hood is next to Killeen, Texas, which looks like killing, where you had the massacre. I haven't covered that one for a minute. I'm pretty sure that was in the later 80s. I believe it was right after the San Ysidro massacre, if I'm not mistaken. All right, but yeah, just same crap, different day. And then just right here, just been showing you how this whole thing's one big Jesuit ritual. Now on the 54th day of Trump's age, he has to say he's having a meeting with these Jesuit puppets, Zelensky and Putin. And Zelensky, again, who had that show in Ukraine about going from a person to the president of the nation, creating his own political party, which is exactly his story in Ukraine. How many American people still don't know that Zelensky used to dance on stage completely naked and play the piano with his nuts? I mean, is this a serious person? No, and this is not nothing about this is serious. And another thing is, everybody who has a YouTube account, I'll continue to remind, when this war started, all of us who have not YouTube, but have an AdSense account, we all got the email that if we questioned the war, we would be demonetized. And right away, that should tell you everything. It's like, wow, they have to threaten YouTube content creators with demonetization if they question the war? Wow. And realize this stuff works. It's why you have all the major content creators who get views, who are just like, Professor Dave yesterday. Again, of course, I talked about him in the videos, not eligible for monetization. He can talk shit about everybody and make millions of dollars off it. But this always anytime I go after these bigger YouTubers, always the video's not eligible for monetization. It makes me sick. It's like, why these people, are bulletproof by this bullshit company that's anything but American. And if you guys have never seen my footage when I went to YouTube, Americans don't work there. They don't even have American security for the place. They're all foreigners on the outside guarding the place. The people that go in and work there aren't from America. I'm not sure a single American works at YouTube. And it doesn't give two shits about the First Amendment, and you don't see any of our sold-out politicians doing anything about it. Here's what I really think, even though I'm not a big fan of government. If government's going to exist, I think all of these social media companies should become public utilities, and they have to uphold the Constitution. Free speech has to be at the very top of the chart for these now publicly owned companies. And I think that would be great. And I don't know why anyone would disagree with that, because who wants to argue that these companies and their censorship of speech hasn't been super destructive to this nation? And that is the argument why government should exist, because, again, private companies, and that's the thing, too, these aren't even private companies in the first place. They are government companies, but they're able to go outside the First Amendment because supposedly they're private when they're really not. They're really part of this, military cartel that this nation really is. But yeah, I do think social media should be made public utilities, and all that really matters on them is the First Amendment's upheld. If you guys want to call in when I open up the phone lines and disagree with me, you're welcome to, but I don't think you're going to win the argument. Again, tell me these things haven't been destructive and absolutely awful. And like I said, have you ever been to YouTube? Because I have. It is all non-American people working there, and they don't give two shits about anything America. All they care about is coding and seemingly censoring out truth tellers, and then promoting the biggest, slimiest pieces of shit to the top who dominate the platform now. And that's not good for anybody. Okay. About 4 earthquakes on a Wednesday in the Los Angeles area. Again, earthquake is 44. LA's 4 earthquakes on a Wednesday. Again, I just showed you how Wednesday's got the 44 connection, but Wednesday, when you run it forwards with the cipher I have up there, is 37, just like Los Angeles. Wednesday, 37, Los Angeles, 37. Run it in reverse. Wednesday's 44. And the last one was a 3.7. They were a little south of Los Angeles and Long Beach, but again, not far away. I find that quite interesting. Today's the anniversary of dropping the big bomb on Japan. And, of course, one of the biggest stars in baseball is Japanese and does play for LA. And he's on the mound tonight, Ohtani. So I'm thinking there's something to that. And, again, just like having a black shooter today on the 59 date numerology, you got BET, Black Entertainment Television, canceling their awards. There's a lot more to BET by the numbers as we covered over the years, but again, that pairs right there with your black shooter. Let me see if anything else is going on right now. Vance dinner seen as potential way to clear air between Bondi Patel on Epstein scandal. If they just clear Trump out of here and make the bearded guy the president, it might just make things smooth over, because there's no photos of him with Epstein. Let me see. Fox News, who loves to demonize black people. I was loving this headline today. Look at that, a black mass shooter. We're going to keep that up there all day. It amazes me how many Uncle T's, how many spoons have gotten on board with the Fox News agenda. It's like, God, I mean, people will just sell out for the almighty dollar left and right. Are you kidding me? Do you guys watch this news network? I mean, how often do they cut to commercial break with a camera footage of inside of a store of a black person stealing something? It's just like, look at this network. They just love to demonize black people. And then you got these bootlicker types. Good God. If you guys don't watch Fox News, they do it all the time. Oh, we're going to commercial break. Cue the security footage of a black guy stealing something. Let me see. BBC.com. What do they got today? Trump threatens, yeah, Donald 50 like America. Trump threatens 50% tariffs on India for buying Russian oil. Okay. Al Jazeera. What do they got today? Israeli blockade on fuel endangering 100 premature babies in Gaza. Well, again, just remember, this nation, we the people are made to pay for all of this. Blood shortages in Gaza. Okay, yeah. More evil that if you speak about it, you're anti-Semitic. Yeah. You're anti-Semitic. Donald Trump's going to ban you from college if you talk about it. Oh, but then they'll be like, well, recently Trump said he's not really on board with it. What is that? What is that? Is that anything? Why isn't he on TV saying right now, Israel, we're about to eliminate you off the face of the earth unless you stop what you're doing. Blocking baby formula, bombing food lines, water lines. We're about to wipe you off the face of the earth if there's one more report like that. He talks tough like that about other nations. Why not get on TV and say that? Is any other nation right now killing children, blocking baby formula, bombing food lines? Because these headlines are coming out of Israel every day. To me, that's the most horrific thing I've seen in my lifetime, I think. And granted, it's hard to know what's real in this media. Is anything real? I mean, is it all just to get people to take sides? I kind of suspected Israel when it comes to Israel. But again, since that's in the news, Trump saying, "Oh, I'm not really. I think Netanyahu might be on the wrong side." That's some just pussy bullshit. Get up there and talk tough like you do about other people, and actually follow through with it. Because I mean, honestly, if you're killing children and purposely targeting babies, I think getting wiped off the face of the earth is actually perfectly kosher. All right, I am gonna open up the phone lines and. Well, let me say thank you to the super chatters first. But Irving says, look into the death of former Portuguese soccer star that died at 53 on 5/8, Jorge Costa, who equals 58. What do you know? I'm guessing this is the 5th of August. That's what I mean. Every day it's news by the numbers, and somehow everybody hasn't caught on yet. Jorge Costa. Death. Let's see. Portuguese legend Jorge Costa. He died August 5th. Here, let's check it out. Does Jorge Costa equal 58 as they said? Let's pull up the base ciphers real quick. Jorge Costa. It's just like Kobe Bryant. God, his name's exactly like Kobe Bryant. It's crazy. On the story, they do the clear Kobe Bryant tribute in Philly. Got the exact same in all 4 ciphers. But yeah, the 58. What do you know? What do you know? And I think that Slipknot just did that Gematria, the killing name, because it was just a coincidence. He died 311 days before the start of the World Cup. Hey, you know who won in New York and scored 2 goals and who's going for their second World Cup win? Messi. Messi played in New York 1 year to the day of the World Cup. Of course, he represents Argentina. Could we see Ronaldo versus Messi the Messiah? Well, I feel like you already got the decode there. Is there anything left to do? 311's the 64th prime, kill 64. I guess I could see how it lines up with Ronaldo. Ronaldo, date of birth, February 5th. see here. February 5th to August 5th. Let's just see how it lines up with the old Ronaldo. Because that Portuguese player who died in the car crash not long ago, that was lined up with Ronaldo. Died 181 days after Ronaldo's birthday, the 42nd prime. I'll look more into it, but I think you got the main point. You keep things simple with people. It's easier for them to understand. Again, just all this 5-8 business and add up another one. So I appreciate that. Thank you for your generosity, and thank you for bringing that to the table. That adds to the value of the stream. Leper Messiah, always adding to the value of the stream. I appreciate it, Leper Messiah. Leslie Margarita, once again, says, always grateful. Much love, Truth family. Appreciate that, Leslie. Dale with another big 5. Thank you again, Dale. Mr. Generosity over the top. Open up, same story. Brian Kemp equals 44. Is the 80, that's right, yeah. 83rd governor of Georgia and is currently 61 years old, like active shooter 61. It's 277 days after his birthday. Fort Stewart, Georgia, 277. And again, that's the 59th prime as well, going with the 59 date numerology. And that reminds me, there's one thing I did not cover. Since you brought up the 61, I forgot to cover that today is 61 days after Hegseth's birthday. Like active shooter 61, another familiar pattern. The leader of our military, if you believe these puppets are doing anything, which they're not. Again, half of Trump's cabinet is Fox News personalities. Smeed with the big 2. Folks who deny this info are the Walking Dead. Yeah, they are. Too bad they are the majority. Well, I guess it's like in The Walking Dead, the zombies are the vast majority. Little behind. Did you cover ESPN buying NFL Network? I saw they had a 10%. I saw something about buying a 10% stake in ESPN. NFL 10% ESPN. Let me see. In a blockbuster trade, NFL and ESPN formally announced their billion-dollar agreement that will see ESPN acquire NFL media assets, including NFL Network, linear distribution rights to Red Zone, and NFL Fantasy in exchange for the NFL receiving a 10% ownership stake in ESPN. I see. So they took over their competitor channels, which means less competition. I hate politics, and sometimes I think I got to figure out a way to run for politics. I think the one idea I would just run on, and it might work, is I'll say, listen, I'll get your cable bill down to $20 a month. Because how much are most of you paying right now? $200? I'll get it down to those socialist European prices. How will I do that? By introducing competition. Because isn't it stupid how in America, how our government purposefully allows all of these mega cable companies to just have their own market? Like in Washington State, west of the mountains is Comcast, east of the mountains is Spectrum. So they don't have to compete with each other, and they both rip off their customers. And same thing everywhere. It's just stupid. But yeah, again, when it comes to TV, everything's moving more in one direction. One company to own all companies. Amazon or Warner. As for this happening today, it's a reminder. Today leaves 147 days left in the year. American football has credited to the Freemason Walter Camp. Or actually, I take it back. It happened yesterday. This was yesterday's news. It happened on August 5th. That makes even more sense to me, honestly. Well, for one, it can be written 5-8 like Freemasonry, but National Football League is 85. National Football League 85. So on 8-5, big news with the NFL and ESPN. And don't forget ESPN, the worldwide leader in 54. You see how ESPN's 54 forwards and backwards and 18 forwards and backwards? If you don't know, ESPN began exclusively as a baseball channel. Baseball, 54 forwards and backwards and 18. 54 outs in a game, 18 half innings. Now the MLB schedules 162 games. You got all the numbers right there for baseball in the word. Here, I guess one more thought. August 5th. Let's see. Super Bowl or the season officially begins on September 4th with the Thursday night game. So it's 30 days before then. Everybody else kicks off on 9/7. That's the big day on a Sunday, 33 days later. Go figure. And then the Super Bowl is February 8th, 2026, 187 days later. Speaking of Jesuits and Masons, Ancient and Accepted Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, 187. Society of Jesus, 187. Think more about that one. Okay. Okay. All right, let me open up the phone lines here, see what you guys got to add to the conversation. Are there more stories out there I'm missing? Do you guys have more to add to these decodes? Let me get everything set up here. Should just take a second. It's going to be that 509 number. If you start to dial it right now, your timing might just be perfect. All right. I am officially connected. And the first call says potential spam? Let me see here. Hello? All right, hold on. Let me. Your phone number, for whatever reason, says potential spam. But let me switch it over here. Okay, what's up, Marco? Marco, can you hear me? Hello? Hello? I can't hear him now. Marco, I'm going to switch it around to see if it works for you. I lost his call. Shoot. Well, I know one thing Marco's real big on is he thinks the zombie apocalypse is really going to happen 2 years from now, because some people who follow my work also follow Marco. I was wondering if he's going to call in about that. But we lost his call there, unfortunately. I wanted to hear more about his zombie apocalypse theory. Well, what's up, 707? 707? Hello?
707? Hey, what's happening, Zach?
Yeah, what's up?
Hey, man, I seen in the news the other day, they were talking about, I don't know if you reported on it or not, they said that they found wild pigs in Northern California with blue meat and saying that they were eating rat poison. I don't know. It just kind of sparked my interest. I don't know if you had seen that or not. And I just wanted to run it by you. That's it.
Pigs that their meat was blue.
Yes, sir. I don't know. And I was thinking, like Democrats, California, pretty much a blue state. I don't know. That's what it feels like around here. So, I don't know what that has anything.
The Newsweek story says that they became neon blue. I didn't hear about this. I'd have to look more into it.
All right. I was like, dang, this is crazy. Yeah. All right. Thanks, man. I just wanted to let you know.
All right. I appreciate the heads up. Thank you. Thank you.
No doubt.
Neon blue. It says California wildlife officials are urging hunters and trappers to remain vigilant after several wild pigs in Monterey County were discovered. Now, neon blue does equal 88 like California. It was happening in California. And we know that the President Chump likes that 88. He seems to eat a lot of pork. Monterey County were discovered with unnaturally blue flesh, an indication that the animals may have ingested rodent poison commonly used in agricultural pest control. I'm not talking about a little blue, said Dan Burton, the owner of Salinas-based wildlife control company who discovered the blue meat. I'm talking about neon blue, blueberry blue, he told the Los Angeles Times. Let me call Marcos back here, because I did want to hear what he's going to say. We lost his call. Well, we lost him. I don't know what happened. He called in, he dropped. Can't get him back. I realize, man, time is flying by. Let's see. I think here he is. What's up, man?
Zach.
Yeah.
Okay, listen. I just tried calling you, right? And the freakiest thing happened yet again. And it's like your voice just kind of echoed off and it faded out. And I was just like, what the hell was that? And then I tried listening back to the stream and you can't even hear me. But either way, I'm now here and you were right. I was going to call in because recently one of your callers, I think on a recent stream, I think 2 days ago or something like that, they recommended that film called Weapons. Are you familiar with it now?
What's it called?
Weapons.
Oh, Weapons. Yeah, that comes out on 8/8. Yeah, somebody let me know. I haven't seen it though.
Yeah. No, check this out. I've talked about that quite a bit now, but that's exactly what I anticipate happening with the jab. But what the film is about, if you look into it, there has been some scripts that have been released on it, so it leaked the plot. But it's essentially a witch that does witchcraft on people to get them to become weapons for herself. So they become walking, living biological weapons.
I see.
And what caught my attention with this one was the fact that the witch likes to wear purple and scarlet, like the Vatican. And you already know who came up with that Jesuit. I call it the Jesuit Corona juice. It's on the loose. And, another thing that I found out, the lady that plays the witch, she was born on 9/11, but also she's Jesuit educated from Marquette. So it just alludes to where this is headed. And like I said, it's biblical because in the King James Bible, in Psalm 46:6, it says the heathen raged. That is the word for the zombie apocalypse in the Bible. They're going to rage. They're just going to go crazy, like homicidal. And it says the kingdoms were moved. The kingdoms, that means like civilization is going to collapse. So and what I've been saying is that is the device that has been set forth before us with Operation Warp Speed to now force us to the kingdom of the beast. It's like you thought COVID was nothing. It's just that they scared people to get the actual thing that now is set in place to force us now into the kingdom of the beast coming up. And that is the device. And you just get more and more allusions to this from Satan's Hollywood. So Weapons is another big one coming up. But then I just found out yesterday that there's a new comedy film called The Naked Gun. And it's about a tech billionaire that with technology puts out a frequency to make people rage. And then, the billionaires are going to go into their bunkers while everybody's raging. And that is the word. Just look up Travis Scott. They love to use that word rage. Rage is the word for the zombies in the Bible.
Okay, yeah, it is interesting. It is interesting. In the movie series, what's it called? It started with 28 Days Later. Now they've done sequels, but it's the rage virus that creates the zombies in 28 Days Later.
Yeah, and listen, that guy, that freaking bastard, the Danny Boyle. Let me see. There's some people out there that just can't hold back their wickedness. Like I can imagine the Satanists are very giddy right now as to what's about to play out. Like the trap is already set. Like 70% of the world's going to rage. Like the trap is set. But now you just have to brace for impact. And one of the things that I've done with my audience is to kind of give them a better idea as to when it might happen. And the Satanists, they like to use another word for the event that's going to create the rage, which is called supernova. And NASA, they came out with something in November of last year where they made a statement that pretty soon there's going to be a supernova that explodes a star that then creates a zombie star in the Corona Borealis. And they did that 33 months exactly before the upcoming eclipse of the century. That is when I think the supernova is going to occur.
Okay. Interesting. I always wonder about the year 2028, just because it's like 228. United States of America and death both have that 228. You got the Gematria Slipknot song, America's a Killing Name. I always wonder about the year 2028.
No, check this out. The eclipse of the century, it's on August 2nd, 8/2 or
2027, yeah, right. Yeah.
That's when I think it goes down, because it also plays in part with how they did the rituals around the jab. Because the first American eclipse came about in 2017. Then the corona juice was put out in 2020, which was 1,211 days exactly after that. And then 1,211 days exactly after that was the eclipse that made an X over America. And then 1,211 days after that last eclipse from last year brings us to the eclipse of the century. So I don't think they're playing any games here with the dates. And I think that's the one where the world starts to rage.
Okay. You could be right.
It's going to happen. It's just that it's going to happen. It will happen from the people that got the corona juice. But it's just like you have to start figuring out this riddle. I think I got it, but it's going to happen. I think the supernova is going to occur on the eclipse of the century. And it actually goes over Mecca, Saudi Arabia, that has to do with the beast. Like I said, I think this year or next year, the beast does the deal with Israel. That's Saudi's prince. He's going to do the deal with Israel, start the tribulation. But while we're in the first half of the tribulation, let's say he starts the deal this year or next year. We're already in the tribulation when he does that deal. But by 2027, the event's going to occur that has people raging. And the idea is that if you don't get he's going to come out with the solution to the rage. You watch, it's his mark. And that's the event. That's the event that's going to force the world. And the Jesuit general, he said before when COVID first came out, he's like, if things don't change, the next one will be worse. There's a next one coming, but it's from what they already released with the corona juice that goes straight to your dome.
Well, it's all very interesting. The sad part is I hope you're right. I'd love to see it happen. I want to get on with the show. I hate this slow game they play, and I can't stand living in this age of where everyone thinks they're holier than thou because they're completely ignorant and licking the boots of authority. So,
listen, I tell my audience, just brace for impact, man. The trap is set. The trap is already set. It's in motion. And I also think all this crap of watching the news, it gets sillier and sillier with the show. And I call it the Devil's Mystery of Iniquity show. And I see you covering it day to day. And the idea is this. I mean, what we're watching right now is indeed a show. And if you want to check out some songs like Justin Timberlake, he has a song called Supplies. And he says some crap's about to go down. The world could end now, baby. We'll be living in The Walking Dead. So he knows what's coming.
Is that the one where he's in Los Angeles and all the power's out? And they're hanging out by a library.
Yeah, and then like downtown LA looks like it's got nuked or something.
Yeah, I covered that at the time. Okay.
And that was directed by Dave Myers, which was Jesuit educated at Loyola Marymount in LA. So these people know, you got the I Am Legend, which was directed by Jesuit educated Francis Lawrence. This is it, man. I call it the Jesuit zombies. I think that equals 201 or 56, and then Zombie Rage equals 56. And yeah, man, they did it. And I think this. Every day it just gets sillier and sillier. But there's also another song by Imagine Dragons. It's called Bones. And it says, I got magic in my bones. It's because of the jab. And then it says, I'm going to lose my mind. And it says, I don't mind. And then it says, is this entertaining? My patience is waning. That's the devil. That is the devil telling the world, are you being entertained? Because pretty soon my patience is going to wane out and they're going to rage. And also, with Imagine Dragons, they've had concerts where they literally have the devil speaking to the audience. And he shows that what is your life? The devil literally makes fun of the audience. And he says things like this. He's like, are you awake? Have you ever been? He's like, what is your life? But sleepwalking from one dream to the next. And then he says, until, and then he shows an eclipse with the corona, and then he shows the graphene modulating because the devil's waiting for that moment. They are working in a timeline right now. And I think they're just kind of killing time until that event really plays out.
Dave Myers, you're right. The director of the Supplies music video, Jesuit educated, Loyola Marymount University. He's going to turn 54 in 2 years. Actually, he's going to turn 54 at the end of next year. He'll turn 53 this year in October, 54 next year in October. Interesting. Born in 72.
And what I tell people is this: the Jesuits, they perfected that technology with places like the Rwanda genocide, that in a year close to 1 million people died, where they probably had them rage in 1994. So they kind of tested that out during the reign of Georgetown educated Bill Clinton. So it's ready to roll. And like you mentioned, with 28 years later, that guy's a Catholic. Danny Boyle is another wicked bastard that said because of the COVID pandemic, it has made 28 years later possible. And yeah, I came out with a new film recently called The Devil's Promised Land, because recently I heard Trump telling the beast in Saudi Arabia that you're going to be taking us to the promised land. And then in 28 years later, the Zombie Rage film, they have a song called Promised Land. And yeah, that's where we're going.
Well, interesting as always. I appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, you have a good day.
You too.
All right, take care, man. All right, I do got to go pick up Sweet Girl. Running late again here. Thank you again to everyone who hit the like and the share. I did have the title wrong. I wrote Fort Lewis instead of Fort Stewart. Blame it on the lack of sleep here. Again, we still haven't convinced our little one to sleep for more than 30 minutes to max 2 hours at a time in the night. And it's why some nights just like the only way to get her to stay asleep is just to hold her. I'll just like forget sleep. I'm just gonna go watch more episodes of The Walking Dead. And by the way, I learned something new about lack of sleep and health. Obviously, sleep is super important. Let me, for people who got here late, again, I've talked about this 1,000 times. Wednesdays and shootings in Georgia. I mean, we've covered this so many times over the years. If you still have not read my 2017 book, Letters and Numbers, there's a huge chapter on decades of mass shootings by the numbers. I go over all these same patterns over and over, why they code 44 into shootings. Again, it's a number that's representative of death. And like I've said 1,000 times before too, so many of the mass shooting stories are former police, former military, sometimes active military, sometimes active police. And if you did follow this story from when it broke, CNN initially reported that people were killed. So it went from people being killed to, oh, nobody died, to 5 people are injured and they're now in stable condition. The one person who's supposedly, well, actually, I don't even know if that's true. Initially, they said the shooter was dead. Again, they gave you a black shooter on the 59 date numerology, like slave, Negro, blues, and Ross all equal 59. Again, Motown in 59, Black History Month ends on the 59th day of the year, Black Entertainment Television, BET's canceling their awards ceremony today. But yeah, anyway, the one thing I learned about, it's not like I'm real fat right now. If I showed you my body, you'd be like, you're not even fat. But to the average American, I'm definitely in shape. But I am also the fattest I've ever been right now. And my sweet lady, she lets me know about it. She's like, I want you to get back in shape like you used to be. And I thought it was kind of weird that I've gotten fatter. I started to think maybe it's because I'm in my 40s. Again, I'm not very fat. But the point is, I am the fattest I've ever been. And I still do intermittent fasting. I still don't eat very much. My diet's still good. What will cause you to gain weight? Lack of sleep. If you do not get sleep, your body doesn't burn fat as well. And it also causes your body to retain water. So I'm like, well, that makes sense because we're not getting any sleep over here. And sweet lady's also been, obviously after you have a baby, you have some extra skin and gain some extra weight, but she's been working out and exercising and she feels like she's not getting in shape and she's thinking it's her age too, but I bet that's what it is for both of us. I didn't realize that when you don't get sleep, how much it can contribute to gaining weight and also your inability to lose weight. So for anyone who has weight issues, your sleep could be a big part of it. I've never really had sleep issues in my life I still sleep fine, like I can fall asleep, but I get a lack of sleep because we got this little one that just refuses to sleep at nighttime. So yeah, I'm just sharing that with you because maybe you didn't know that, just like I didn't know that until I just started looking into it there. I said, I think I found the culprit. It's lack of sleep. So for anyone out there trying to lose weight. Another thing that I learned that actually is good for losing weight, drinking a lot of water. I read that for example, if you're a 200-pound man, you want to drink a half of ounce of water for every pound you weigh. So you'd want to drink 100 ounces of water, which is almost a gallon in a day. But apparently, when your body has a lot of water in it, it also helps it shed weight, which seems interesting to me. But a part of me is going, wait a minute, does that work though if you're not getting sleep because then your body wants to retain more water? So anyway, got to keep Sweet Lady happy. So must find a way to get more sleep. All right, we'll leave it there for now, Truth Seeker. Have a good rest of your day, and we'll see what tomorrow brings. Till next time.